Hey everyone, welcome to our Master IEP Coach panel where you get to ask your IEP questions to not just me, but to Master IEP Coaches. For those of you that don't know, I'm Catherine Witcher. I've been working professionally in the special education world for over 20 years. I have a brother with Down syndrome. I became a special education teacher, but for the last 20 years, I've been working for you, the special needs parent, the special education teacher who wants to make IEPs better. You're tired of struggling with special education. You're ready to find the simple strategies to make special education work. And I've trained hundreds of Master IEP coaches, and you've got 4 of them with you today to help you get the special education strategies you need. So we're going to get started with some back to school IEP tips. They really work year round. So no matter when you're watching this, it's all good. But right now for us, it is July. We have some people that are back in school and many that are prepping. So as we kind of go through the panel here, give us, for my Master IEP coaches here, give us a, 1 or 2 sentences about yourself and how you're connected to the special education world, and then share your IEP tip with us. Let's go ahead and get started with Theresa.
Hi, thanks so much, Catherine. My name is Theresa DeMarco. I am mom to 3 incredible 20-year-old young men. My middle son, Sean, is 21 and is just aged out of our school district with his incredible vocational certification. So we're just starting to navigate adult services. My IEP back to school tip is to find a space, a notebook in your child's IEP binder where you can write down your questions, your concerns, your thoughts, your frustrations, so that you have a place, a dedicated place to go to each and every time so that you can prep what you want to say to the teacher, to the team, and you'll start to see some trends and patterns develop as you look at the chronology of your journal writing. So that is my back to school tip.
So Theresa, what I'm hearing you say is with your mom experience and navigating this special education, maze for so long, that there's always a lot of things that are kind of swirling in your head, right? Of like, I need to say this and I need to do this and how about that? And we tend to kind of let all of that build up and then kind of just spill it all out. So what I'm hearing you say is a strategy that's worked for you and that you use with your clients is encouraging a one place. So then you just kind of get everything out on paper first and then organize it and then communicate.
That's exactly right. And then you always know that you can go to that space to document something. Yeah, exactly.
I love that. Yeah. We're going to take that one step further with Jessica's tip. Jessica, share with us a little bit about how you're connected here as a Master IEP coach, and then give us that tip.
Hi, I'm Jessica Kong. I am the mom of 2 little boys, but my youngest son has autism, ADHD, and a couple other diagnoses that we work with throughout his time in school. He's in elementary school right now. I'm also a direct service provider and a registered behavior technician. So I have, I guess, a couple different perspectives, as you could say, from mom, people who work directly with people with special needs. My tip would be to make sure that you have a notebook of some sort. You can get a cute little one for $1 at Walmart, Target, something like that, and that you make sure that you have a communication log with the teachers, and you make sure that they're aware that you are open to communication as well. It cannot be a one-way street. You have to be able to communicate with your child, the teacher, and the whole team. And that notebook is actually your protection, because if you don't have it written down, it didn't happen. Data is protection.
Absolutely. And, it's really protection for the whole team. When I was a teacher, I was documenting things all the time. We've got a couple of people on here that have some teaching backgrounds. And just knowing that, everybody actually feels that around all sides of the table. It doesn't have to be write it down against somebody. That $1 notebook from Walmart that goes back and forth, that can be one of the best tools to just keep everybody on the same page and make sure that there are less misunderstandings and more working together. So important. And I know that that's been super important for your family, as you have this, just this knack for really communicating what your son's needs are and what's going on. And things are ever changing, right? As a mom who's raising a kiddo who has multiple diagnoses that you've mentioned, things are always changing, right? That notebook comes in handy.
Definitely.
Absolutely. So speaking of communication and some teaching background, we're going to go on to Laura here, and she's going to share with us her connection to the special needs community and her back to school tip.
Hey everybody, I'm Laura Prado. I'm a BCBA, and I was a former special education teacher, and I also currently do school consultations. So I've been all around the IEP table. And one tip I want to give to you guys is those parents, start opening up the communication gate by telling the teacher what your child did over the summer. What were some of those successes? What were those trips you took? And what were some of those challenges? It's a really great place for the teacher to start having some conversation with your child about what they did over the break. They can prompt that conversation with them, and it creates a positive relationship between the parent and the teacher.
And I know from setting up a classroom and getting all excited about this back to school season and getting to know my students, that's different than typically what happens in a general education classroom. It takes more work on everybody's part. So that communication sheet that you're talking about that specifically talks about, some of the wins and maybe some of the struggles from over the summer, it builds this conversation in the classroom that might not otherwise happen.
Exactly.
I loved knowing, like, where did they go and did they learn how to swim and what are maybe some new foods that they tried, and it gave me things to talk about in the classroom that really helped us build a relationship. So I love that piece. So Shelley, share with us your connection to the special needs community and your tip that is so important. So we've talked about all this communication. But what we have not talked about is what are we going to do when school starts, and how do we really start digging into things?
Well, so I'll start with my IEP tip, and then I'll get back to who I am. My tip is to take that child's IEP, your most recent one that you finished off the school year with last year, and look through it and make sure that you understand everything as crystal clear as possible. And if there is something that you're not understanding, a couple of things even, jot those down, and you want to touch base with your child's special ed teacher and gen ed teachers as quickly as possible so that you can all be on the same page as far as how something is going, how you want it to go, and what your goals for your child are as well, and what you're thinking some of these things mean. Because from one year to the next, I know one special ed teacher would write goals and objectives. I would get it the next year, and I didn't always understand it. So make sure you get that out and you read over it. As I just mentioned, I'm a former special education teacher. I have had the privilege of working with a lot of my students for many years, so I was able to get to know them and their families really well. And I sat on the teacher side too long, and I watched too many parents feel overwhelmed and undervalued at the table. And I wanted to sit on their side and be the support that they needed.
I feel like sometimes us as former teachers we're the truth tellers, right? That special education teachers are struggling really just as much as the parents are. And there's gonna be some parents that are gonna say, no way, because it's my kid, and it's different, but it's a very similar level of stress. And I can speak from a teacher standpoint, from a mom standpoint, that it is stressful when you go into the school year and you're getting a stack of IEPs and maybe you didn't write them. And how do you go to your boss and say, I don't understand this? And let's just okay, so here's my IEP tip, is that I'm just going to talk behind the scenes about what some of the stuff that happens back to school. With the turnover that happens in special education, you can't even always go back to the teacher who originally wrote the IEP. They may not even exist in the district anymore of, what did this mean and how does this work? Or is this what you really, wanted as an outcome? You don't even always have access to that. So you can't go to the past teacher sometimes. You can't always go to your boss. You're usually a little fearful to go to the parent and say, I don't really know what this means, because then you feel like you don't look like you know what your job is. So what do you do? I will tell you that growing up as a special needs sibling, we all know that if mom's happy, everybody's happy. Let's just put it out there, right? So I had no fear going straight to the moms. In fact, I probably had more fear if I didn't go to the moms and say like, hey, is this what you really wanted? Or is this what this really means? And I naturally had that conversation with them by really prefacing it with, I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. So opening up that conversation is so important. Shelly, I know that you had talked about, when you're looking at this IEP, it's really like you should be able to give it to your neighbor who has no idea, what a good IEP goal is, and they should be able to read it and say, oh, your child is working on, right? That's the clarity you're looking for. So, all right. We have all of these communication tips. You've gotten a little sneak peek behind the scenes of this back to school kind of conversation that happens in the classroom. And I can say with confidence, and I know all of our Master IEP coaches can say with confidence, that the more communication that we have and the more clarity we have of who the kids are and what the desired outcome is and how we can work together in this, the better the school year is going to be. So I'm going to encourage everybody who's watching, to head over to myiepcoach.com. That's where you can find all of the contact information for Laura, for Shelly, for Theresa, for Jessica, and you can find them, you can contact them, you can work directly with them. If you're not ready to work one-on-one, I'm going to encourage you to look for the link right around this video. It's going to be either above or below, depending on where you're watching, and look at the Special Ed Inner Circle. So the Special Ed Inner Circle is where I really work with the entire IEP team. And people say, what? Like you put parents and teachers in the same program? And I say, yes, because we all need the same information. We need strategies that work. It is absolutely possible to work together, even if your whole team's not in the inner circle. You're getting the strategies that you get to bring back to the team and build a collaboration that you probably have never experienced before. And if you feel stuck, like there's no way that your team would do that, that's where these Master IEP coaches that are sitting right here, that's where they come into play, and they're going to look at your IEP and they're going to help you find those pieces of where to focus and how to prioritize. Now, I'm going to put you guys on the spot. Sorry, I'm kind of known to do that when we're here live together. All of you guys offer a free 15-minute consultation, right? Like people can call and get to know you, like raise your hand so they can see, right? Like you're like, call me, let me know what your struggle is, and let's work through this, right? So there are no excuses not to go to myiepcoach.com, find one of these Master IEP coaches, reach out to them, schedule your 15-minute consult, or go to the specialedinnercircle.com and we'll work with you in there. Thank you everybody for being here today and sharing those IEP tips. I'm super excited for all the parents and the teachers and the teams that are going to reach out to you and can really start changing special education. It hasn't changed a whole lot in the last 44 years, but we've got plans for that, right? We've got plans to change. So, all right, we're going to sign off to everybody here, and I'll talk to you guys soon.